Hey folks, welcome back to the campfire and another episode of Frontier Cooking with me. Today we're going to be fixing a dish called Pigs in the Cornfield. And this is real popular around my campfire every time I go someplace. And so we're going to build it for you today, and so you can try it at your next camp out. Here's the recipe we're going to be using. And let us begin. So we're going to start out here. Let me sit down. I got a little bit more comfortable this time than I did the last time. We're going to be starting out with a can of cream and mushroom soup. We're going to open it up, pour it right into the bottom of our oiled Dutch oven. These are actually small cans, so this is a 12-inch Dutch oven. Just make sure you get it spread around in there relatively smoothly and evenly. I mean, once it starts cooking, you know, it'll flow around where it needs to go. But right now, especially around the edges, we want just a little bit of it to stick. Now on top of that, we're going to evenly space about 6 or 8 corn cobettes. Now it's preferred to get fresh ones. These are some I actually had in the freezer, but either way, they'll work right on up. Try to get them as evenly spaced as you can, all the way around that and up against the side. Now, we're going into this, we're going to start adding potatoes. You notice I got my potatoes, they're about 1/2 inch dice. We're just going to throw them in, get a good layer going up, all up in between each one of those corn cobettes. And once you get a layer of them going, make sure we get them all in between all the corn cobettes. And we're also going to sprinkle in some kind of finely chopped onion. Now you could add more onion. I like a lot of onion in mine, so you can add less onion if you want. And we're going to throw in some pork kielbasa. Now some recipes call for spicy pork sausage, bulk sausage. You can add that. It's not a big deal. This is ultimately your taste. Today we're using 2 kielbasas, kind of just cut in coins and then cut each coin in half. And we're going to repeat this until we got all the way up to level of the top of the corn cobettes. Now if you get some, make sure your potato pieces are pretty even, and you know, so that as they're cooking, they cook even. You don't end up with some that are still crunchy and some that are just mushed away. You know, and it depends on, really depends on your potatoes. But 6 to 8 good potatoes will usually cover this. Sprinkle in another layer of onion. It's gotta have that onion. I'm going to sprinkle in another good layer of kielbasa. Looks like 2 of them whole kielbasas might be a little bit much, but we're just going to sprinkle some more in. That's fine. Everybody gets a little bit of it. These are for pigs in the cornfield, so we're going to be, and there's our cornfield. Some of our pigs are already in it. Look at that. Now we're going to take a can of cheddar cheese soup. We're going to open that up. And again, just pour it right in. If I can get my spatula back. Right in on top of that, spread it around. Some recipes call for 2 of these cans of cheddar cheese soup. Me personally, I actually do 1 can of cheddar cheese soup on top, and then a second can of the cream of mushroom, which I put right there. So if you could hand me that, please, Mrs. Cameraman. Thank you. Let's hear it for the cameraman. She's so handy. We're gonna spread this in right on top there. Now there's a lot of different recipes. This is just the one. Oh hey, I broke my spatula there. This is just the one I've learned to use, and that most of my fellow campers learn to eat, which it don't take much practice. They like practicing on it a lot. Now once you start heating this up, all this cream cheese and soup and everything else will just melt down in there and make a good, almost like a gravy to go over them potatoes and cobettes. It is good. Now right back here, this is the top of our, now the real pigs come in. We got ourselves here some nice, about 1/2 inch thick, boneless pork chops. You can use bone in, but I figure space is at a premium. I want bones. I want more meat, less bone. You're just going to lay them in right around in a single layer on top. Depending on the size of the pork chop, you might get 6, 7, 8. You know, preferably you get at least 1 pork chop for every corn cobette you got in there. Now, you can season that with some salt and pepper or something of your choice, seasoning of your choice. But we're just going to build it and leave it right like that.
Yep.
All right, folks. Now that we got our dish actually built, it's time to put it on the fire. You can see we're using some good, just natural chunk charcoal today. Today we're going to use a tall trivet. Again, these trivets were made for me by my brother Big Al at Al Be Back Catering down in Peoria, Arizona. This one's about 6 inches off the ground because we don't want it real close to that heat. It's going to be cooking for a good long time, so we want to make sure we don't burn the bottom of them corn cobs or that soup on the bottom. So we're going to set it up there on that trivet. We're going to get us a good shovel full of these coals right here. Kind of shake the ash off. And we're going to go kind of light around the bottom. Shake that ash off a little better. Just go kind of in close, but still kind of light. Oh, that's a lot of ash. Come on. This is why it's important to have you a good bed of coals made up ahead of time. Oh, that one's still burning. I don't know. It'll ash down in just a minute. Just get it good and fair to even around. Again, like I said, you don't want to go too heavy on the bottom right now. They're going to be cooking for a long, long time. Now on top, we are going to go, see if I can break that one up a little bit. Go it a bit heavier. Man, I do have a lot of ash today. Because on top is where, remember, if you remember right, on top is where the pork chops are. And we got to cook them good. We're not going to go too heavy, but heavy enough we get some long-lasting heat up in there. Oh, got one flaming up here. All right, it'll calm down right there like that. can see that's pretty heavy. Again, you put your hand over top of it, hold about 5 seconds, you know you got about the right heat right there. Make sure you got it a little bit all the way around. I'm going to put a little bit more on this back side over here. And we're good. Alright guys, it's been a little over an hour. I've come out here once or twice and about every 25 minutes or so. Checked my heat, added a little coals when needed, turned my lid so that we can get a good even cook. But now you can see the coals are just about ashed out completely. So it's time to go ahead. We need to flip those pork chops over and we're going to put some new coals on this. So we're going to get up here, take the lid off, shake these coals out. Luckily the wind's blowing the opposite direction from the food. Sorry, camera lady. And set that on the trivet. Now those are looking real nice right there. You can see they got a good little bit of color. The ones here got a little bit close to the top maybe. Probably could have used some bigger pork chops for this project. You can see the sauce down there is bubbling around a little bit. The bubble's kind of gone off of it because we've let it cool off a bit. But it's still steaming, and oh, if only we had smell-o-vision, you could be able to thank you in heaven. See the corn floating up a bit. Probably should have used tongs to flip these over, but this works just fine. See, that's just pink, still pink on the bottom. We're going to go ahead and put the lid back on. Put some fresh coals on that. Give it about another 45 minutes to an hour, and dinner will be served. Alright, I did a little cut scene. Took the old ashy coal off that was pretty much dead. We're going to poke around in here, get us some good hot coals, some solid coals. Again, we're not going real heavy around the bottom. But we are going to go a little heavier because I'd accidentally let that cool down a little bit. Now folks, this old Dutch oven, it ain't got a temperature knob on it. But don't think that just because it ain't got temperature knob on it, you can't make adjustments. Because all you do is add some coals, move them in, move them out. And that's how you make the adjustments. Now that's a pretty good ring, right in tight on the bottom. Now we're going to get some of these little bit bigger boys scattered around on the top. Again, you want charcoal or coal. You don't want a bunch of ash. So try to shake the ash off as much as you can. Spread it around a little even. And we're going to come out, check this, and rotate it probably about every 20 minutes for another couple of times. And see, yep, right there about 5 seconds, you got your heat going on. And then we'll get to taste it later. All right, folks, this is about done. We're going to take the lid off here and see what we've got. Now this has been cooking total about 2 hours. You can see our ashes our coals are dying out on us. Look how beautiful and golden them pork chops are. Let's take it over here off the fire and serve us up a plate. So when we start out, we're going to get us one of these little pork chops here. Uh-oh. Set my thing right here. Get us one of these pork chops here. Put it on the plate. I'm going to dip down in there. Get us one of these corn on the cobbettes. Put that on the plate. Then we're going to get in here. Look at them taters and sauce and sausage. Get us a big old heaping serving of that. Then we're going to sit down let it cool a minute and give it a try. There's your pork chop. Good flavor. Definitely good and tender. Here's a little potato sausage. See what I told you about that? Forming a gravy down around that. And then potatoes still got a little bite, but are still tender. This is a one pot stop. You know, you get your meat, potatoes, corn. That corn's been in there, soaked up some good gravy. Oh, it's good and sweet with that soup on it, cream of corn soup or cream of mushroom soup. This is a meal to keep around. Hey folks, thanks for stopping by on another episode of Frontier Cooking. Glad you joined us. Why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and a like button. Let us know what you think about us, and hopefully you'll be able to catch our future videos that we make. Make sure that, you know, no matter what the situation, whether you're locked at home or out on the job, that you always live the adventure you've been called to live. Okay?